I believe in a free market. I've just given up on it.
You've given up on it?
I've given up on it. I mean, I believe in the free market. I've just given up on it. Let's take this as an example. We got another call, and we'll go to that in just 2 seconds. In the late 1950s, the average CEO in a Fortune 500 company made about 20 times the salary of the average worker. Today, they make about 361 times more than the average worker. So in the past 50 years, the average American worker's salary, as compared or in relation to inflation, has been, I mean, some would argue gone down a little bit. It's at least flat, or at best flat. So in the last 65 or 70 years, the average American worker's salary is about what it was compared to inflation. The average CEO's, compared to inflation in the same way, is up about 1,050%. Do you believe that all of a sudden the free market allowed for the working class's salary to stay stagnant and the CEOs to make 361 or go from making 20 times more than the average worker to 361 times more than the average worker? Do you believe that was some form of manipulating of the free market? Do you believe that was some politics involved? Do you believe that was that was a day in which morality accounted for a little more of our decision making? I mean, something happened there. Something allowed for us in 1950 to decide, or really in 1960, 1958. That's the stat. 1958. So in 1958, Rev, the average CEO made 20 times more than the average worker. The free market decided that's fair compensation. I mean, if you believe in the free market said a CEO in a Fortune 500 company makes about 20 times more than an average worker. Today, we've decided that the number's 361 times. What happened there? I think you've manipulated the free market in an incredible way. And I think you've become less ethical and less moral in the way you run your company. I believe that. The free market allowed that. Nobody broke a law. Nobody stole the money. But somewhere in the past 65 or 70 years, we decided that instead of a CEO making 20 times more than the worker, it's okay for them to make 361 times. Free market then, free market now. Different free market then, different free market now, different morals then, different morals now. What would have happened in 1959 if a CEO would have tried to make 361 times more than the average worker? Don't know. Don't have the answer. I think that's an interesting question to ponder. What would have happened in 1958 had a CEO, when everybody else was making 20 times more than the average worker, if a CEO would try to pay himself 361 times or get the board of directors? Now, there's a lot of things that have happened in the economy. I mean, this is an incredibly different economy.
My point, there's more companies, there's more money in some of these companies,
okay,
right?
But you know what stayed the same? We've had workers and we've had CEOs. We had CEOs and workers in 1958 and 59. We've got CEOs and workers in 2019. You talked about the companies have a lot more money. It's pretty obvious who's getting the money, right? I mean, I think that's indisputable. It's pretty. I mean, the quality of life in America is improved, no doubt about that. I mean, medical technology and entrepreneurship, innovation, all these other sorts of things have improved the quality of life in America exponentially. But if companies are having more money to dole out, why aren't they doling it out to the workers? Why are they doling it out to the shareholders and the CEOs? And that's just a different set of morals. And I asked you earlier, you would agree that morality is relative.
Sure.
And you would argue that morality is subjective. So can morality be relative and subjective all at the same time? I'm getting pretty deep in the weeds here.
It's kind of early in the morning for this.
Well,
can morality be relative and subjective?
I'm asking that question. Wow. And leave it to me to quote Aristotle. You ready?
Oh, yes.
Aristotle said that one cannot say of something that it is and that it is not in the same respect and at the same time. So I guess what I'm asking is, can morality be relative and can morality be subjective all at the same time? See, we say these things willy-nilly. Morality is relative. Oh, man, morality is subjective. Is it? Can morality be relative and subjective all at the same time? I don't have the answer to that. I would argue nobody in our listening audience has the answer to that. I've got an opinion.
That's deep.
It's very deep. But once again, Rev, we're talking about the issue of the day is whether or not to build a 234-mile wall, right? That's the issue of the day.
Boils down
That's
to
on the
that.
front murder.
Yes.
That's a big deal in America today. It should be. We should secure the border. We should curb illegal immigration, and everybody in Washington should be committed to it. You know why? Because it's in the best interest of the American people. That's why they at the end of the day should agree to build a wall and a barrier and stop illegal immigration, is because it's good for the American people.
Apparently, that doesn't matter to some.
I mean, and that's kind of where we're headed. All of these issues that we're dealing with today in relation to the wall come from our sets of values, virtues, and morality. And if you can explain away the fact that I'm not going to be a part of building a barrier because I think those people that come across the line may vote for my side, or I think those people that come across the border may help keep wages down for unskilled workers, I think you've got an immoral government. And that's kind of where I'm headed. There's always a cause and effect. And the reason we're not building a wall, there's a reason we're not building a wall. There's a reason we've had lax immigration enforcement or immigration policy enforcement in our country for 25 or 30 years, because that's the way Washington wanted it. If Washington wanted the border secure, guess what? The border would be secure. They don't want the border secure. So when we talk about 235 miles of fiscal barrier, we're really talking about the morality of our lawmakers or the immorality of our lawmakers.